It is 12 noon on Friday, which means it's time for this week's Real Estate Mastermind, also known as State of Real Estate. I'm John Carismo, here to deliver the word of real estate on this Friday, so stick with us. I'm John Carismo, you're watching State of Real Estate.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hello, my children, and welcome to State of Real Estate. I don't know why I'm talking like that. I feel like I'm some sort of like preacher or something like that with all this white on. I don't know. It looks pretty sharp though. It's summer. It's like 120 degrees out. I think it's actually a little bit lower right now, only about more like 115. High 149 today here in Tampa. It's hot. We're bringing the heat, and it's because we've got State of Real Estate today. What we're talking about is a topic that it is applicable regardless of whether you're a new agent, whether you're an experienced agent, or whatever that may be. But before we talk about that, let's talk about why we do this show. So State of Real Estate, it's every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. It's brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. And the reason why we started the show is to help our students mastermind and take the business to the next level, because real estate's all about the information and knowledge it is that you have, and this is a great place to acquire that information and that knowledge. I've been told by our viewers this is better than their sales meetings in their office. You can use this as sales meetings in your office. I am giving you guys the power to do that. You can go out there, show it to your agent, share it with your friends, share it with your family, whoever it is that you think would be interested in this. And if you're interested in starting a career in real estate, make sure you reach out to us. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way that they can. If you're thinking about starting or enhancing your real estate career, check out tampaschool.com, or if you're trying to pass your real estate exams, try checking out passfirsttry.com for our recommended strategy to help you pass your real estate exams. So, today, on this hot summer day in July, God, July's got to be one of the hottest months of the year. I was outside for like 30 seconds yesterday, and all of a sudden I felt like I'd like just got out of a swimming pool, just like covered in sweat. It's not door knocking season right now, I'll tell you that much, at least not if you're in Tampa. If you're out there door knocking, more power to you. But now let's talk about the main topic that we're covering today, which is about buyers or sellers. And like I said, this applies universally, whether you're a new agent, you're an experienced agent. Who is it that you want to seek out, a buyer or a seller? Does the market have any impact on this? Does it depend on your skill set and your abilities? And the answer is yes to all of these questions, but that's not there's no one thing that tells you, hey, you should work with buyers, or hey, you should work with sellers. And the disclaimer I want to make with this going into this here is if you've already chosen to work with sellers or buyers, or maybe after watching this episode, you're like, you know what, I only want to work with sellers. That doesn't mean when you have a buyer that comes up to you wanting to use your services, where you can make money for them using your services, that you should turn them away. So this episode isn't about what clients you should turn away. It's what clients you should go after. Because ultimately, the strategy we're going to be talking about here, you could utilize a seller to get buyers and buyers to get sellers. So it's really about how you could perform more real estate services, not really just identifying just a single buyer or a single type of seller or just one category of clients it is that you want to work with. It's who you're seeking out. So we've talked about this before with marketing, with farming, with targeting the type of client it is that you want. You don't want to just have a blanket strategy that says, I'm John Carismo, I'm a real estate agent, use my services. Buy or sell your house with me. That's probably one of the worst ways to kind of pitch your services, is buy or sell your house with me. Not only is that not entertaining, but it's not applicable to who it is that you're talking about. Because if somebody already has a house, yeah, they probably need to buy another one, but they need to sell that house first. So that's somebody who's focused on the sale of their house. Whereas maybe somebody doesn't own a house. And if you're saying buy or sell your house, you look like you're not a specialist. People want to work with a specialist. And yes, you might be a specialist of many areas. You might be able to be an expert in every single area in real estate. But the general public isn't going to buy that. They're not going to believe that. They don't think that you're a specialist in every single category. They want to see somebody who's a specialist in exactly what it is that they're looking for. And so you have to tailor your marketing and your sales approach to really tap into what it is that they're looking to do. So you want to differentiate this strategy between the sellers and the buyers. But again, you're not turning people away. If you decide, hey, I want to focus on tracking down sellers, and you get a buyer that calls you up, you shouldn't be like, oh, you're just another buyer. What a waste of my time. I only want sellers. No, that's not what you want to be doing with potential clients like this. Again, we're taking business from everywhere until you're so busy that you don't have time to take on clients. You don't have time to take on buyers. You better be taking on buyers. You better be taking on sellers. And if you don't have time, hire some people. Refer this business out. There should be no reason why you're turning business away and walking away empty-handed when people want to bring business to you. And this is what happens with a lot of agents as they continue to get experience and they get better at what it is that they're doing, and they run into this problem. It's a good problem to have of not having time to take on a certain type of client or different types of clients or whatever that may be. But you're walking away from money. And what happens, the longer you're in real estate, the harder it is for you to remember what it was like when you were starting out, when you were struggling and reaching and grasping for every even hint of a deal that you could pull at. You're like, oh, come on, I think you want a deal, and you're trying to pull them in. And then you get good at what you do. You build up a base of clients, you build up referral business, you start marketing, and all of a sudden you've got more business than you know what to do with. And the lazy answer, I know some of you guys don't want to hear this, but the lazy answer is to turn those business away. And sometimes you're not even proactively turning them away, saying, you know what, no, I can't work with you. You might want to work with them, but you're not taking the necessary steps and follow through to truly stay in touch, to make them a client, to turn them from a lead into a client. Because you might say, oh yeah, I'll definitely help you out buying your house. You know, I'm really busy, but I could definitely find time for you. And you let them just come to you. So when you get to that point where you're so busy where you don't have time to follow up and continue trying to convert your leads into clients, that's again where you need to expand yourself, whether it's you're starting to build out a team, or even if you're just taking on one other additional agent, or maybe it's somebody that you're going to mentor or whatever it may be, but that's what you should be doing there. That's the next step in your business. So what we're going to be focusing on today more so is now how are we deciding between the sellers and the buyers? What impact is it that the market's going to have in this? What impact is it from our skill set? What impact is it by our experience? What impact is it by what our brokerage is? What are all these different impacts, the previous clients it is that we've worked with? This shouldn't be something that stops you from working with new clients. So we're going to talk about some strategies and some of the things you could do to turn seller leads into more buyer leads, and buyer clients or buyer leads into more seller leads, as well as buyer leads, because you could really kind of have a huge multiplication factor with this. But now, before we get into this stuff, we're going to take a quick commercial break. So stick with us. I'm John Carissimo. You're watching State of Real Estate. Have you been thinking about starting a career in real estate? Enjoy an entrepreneurial lifestyle that allows for schedule flexibility with unlimited income potential. In real estate, the sky is the limit, and what you put in is what you get out. Learn more about a career in real estate at tampaschool.com. Did you know that statewide only about 50% of test takers pass their state exam on the first try? At the Tampa School of Real Estate, we've broken down passing the class and state exams into 4 simple steps: learning the information, reinforcing the information, testing your knowledge, and being confident and prepared. View the details of the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. If you're liking the show today, which I'm sure you are, make sure you hit like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Our goal is to help you better understand the real estate industry, and I hope we're accomplishing that. Thanks for tuning in today, and remember to leave your comments in the comment section below.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Christopher. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. If you're interested in starting or enhancing your real estate career, you know the drill. Phone number, website are down below there. PassFirstTry.com. If you're trying to pass your exams on the first try, there's our recommended strategy. Got all that stuff out of the way, so let's jump into the content. What you guys are tuning in for today, how to take your business to the next level. Again, every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, State of Real Estate. I had a question come in. This is a live stream. There's like a 5-second delay from the words coming out of my mouth to them coming through your phone or computer speakers. So when you guys have questions on any of this stuff, send that in, because that really helps me direct and tailor the show to your guys' needs and how this can impact your business. So we've got a question coming in from Logan. Logan's asking, really kind of the topic of the show here, so what's better, buyers or sellers? And my short answer for this is sellers. Now, again, no particular type of client is a bad client. A buyer isn't a bad client, a seller isn't a bad client, but if you were to ask my preference, what I would say would be the easiest low-hanging fruit to go after immediately, it's gonna be sellers. Now, there are pros and cons. There's ups and downs to each side of this here. So, and that's why I'm glad you asked this question, so we can kind of just get to the short, quick answer of this. But like I said, my preference for trying to track down business would be going after sellers. Now, the reason why. So if we think of going into some sort of store, let's say we're going into some sort of retail store. Say we're going to Home Depot. Now, if Home Depot didn't have any products in the store, we wouldn't want to go to Home Depot. If Home Depot was just this great big empty warehouse, who would go there? And you can think of that with any store. If there's no product there, well, what are you doing there? And even the stores, like, for example, let's say like the Tesla stores that are popping up at the malls. Yes, they and actually I think they do have. You go to International Mall now, in the little like Bat Cave garage downstairs, they've got all these cars there. So I think that's what they're actually selling, or what you could test drive, or whatever it is. But even in the scenario where there's not any product where you can buy today, people will still go in there because they want to see the product. So now let's take that business concept and apply it with the real estate business concept. What's your product? And the answer that the inexperienced agent may say with this is like, well, we're not a product business, we're a service business. And yes, that is correct. You're offering a service, but any place selling a product is offering a service. Even ordering it through Amazon. You're like, oh, there's no even interaction or person or anything there. Yes, there is. There's people assembling that packaging, putting it together, getting it delivered to your door. If there's issues, you're calling them up. There's a lot of service. So there's no business that's exclusively product or service. It's always a combination of the both, and real estate is no exception to that rule. Your product, as a real estate professional, are the properties. And think of yourself as a business. Would you be able to survive if you didn't have any product, if you didn't have any inventory? If you were Home Depot, again, we already established this. If they didn't have any product in the store for people to even look at, let alone actually want to buy, they wouldn't want to go there. That's why these retailers that are kind of hanging on, and where the gloom and doom of Amazon shutting them down and so on and so forth, and the reason they're able to hang in there is because certain things you just want to be able to see in person, and real estate is no exception to that. Even we're getting into some neat stuff now with like the virtual tours of properties and things like that. But even then, this is a huge investment. People are living there for like the 5 to 7 years on average, and sometimes a lot longer than that. They want to see it. They want to touch it. They want to feel it. They want to smell it. They want that sensory experience. So that's the product. And when people get excited about the real estate process, when a buyer or a seller gets excited about the home buying or home selling process, as great as you may think you are, as great as I think I am, they're not getting excited to work with a realtor. Think about that. So in your marketing, in the way that you're outreaching to your clients, Your goal isn't to get them excited about you. Yeah, you want to sell yourself a little bit, but you're just there. You're just a stepping stone, really, towards what it is that they really want. They don't dream about you. They don't dream about having a realtor. They dream about owning a home or having a larger home or having a home in a better location. That's the dream. That's the vision. That's what it is that they want. That's what you need to tap into. Now, going back to Logan's question here, what's better, buyers or sellers? This is why my short, quick default answer for this is if you're going to reach for anybody, I would reach for sellers. Again, if you don't have any inventory, and again, we're already talking about the product here, the actual real estate. If you don't have any inventory, who wants to come to you? Now, the answer for this, and with this, so any information that you're receiving from anywhere, any which way it is, there's some people that have immediate reaction to just discredit this information right away. And for this, there's a lot of realtors that are out there that says, well, my inventory is all the homes out there, unless it's a for sale by owner, and even then I could work with them. That's my inventory. And yes, but that's every other realtor's inventory as well. When it's your listing, when you've got listings, that's your inventory. That's your properties that you have listed. And when you put a sign in front of a property that says it's for sale, or for those of you that are maybe tried advertising online with Zillow or Truly or any of these websites or anything like that, the listing agent is always listed first with these listings. So you're always listed first, and then anybody that's paying for advertising is listed after that. So you can see how you have the advantage. You don't have to pay a penny to be listed first on these websites if you have a listing. So when you're out there seeking out business, my recommendation, and there's other ways to go about this, there's different schools of thought, and yes, these other factors will play into this as well, but you want to tap into trying to get as many listings as you can, carrying inventory. Because again, think of yourself as any other type of business that's not real estate. If you do not have inventory, who wants to work with you? Who's going to come and do business with you if you don't have inventory? Having inventory shows that you're a professional. You're able to carry inventory. Because again, we think of maybe these physical, maybe bricks and mortar stores, whatever it may be. When they don't have inventory in the store, it's a bad sign to the public. If you go into Home Depot to go buy something, maybe some sort of tool or special thing or anything like that, and they don't have it in stock, you're wondering, why don't you have this in stock? Isn't this the reason you exist, so I could go there and get this item? That's the perception the public has of you. And it's not to that same degree, but you have to take that concept and apply it here. It's to a lighter degree with this here, but if you really want to attract attention to you, the easiest way to do that is carrying listing inventory. And you want to have, as many properties as you can listed. And ideally, I would say get to the point where you've got more listings than you even know what to do with. And carry as much inventory as you possibly can. Because now let's talk about what that inventory is going to do. Because like I was saying earlier at the beginning of the show, we could use this type of client to generate more business. So not only can you tell your clients that, and when you're signing the paperwork, this is a line that I love to use whenever you're going through and finalizing this stuff here, and you're really kind of just planting the seed right at the beginning, at the very beginning of the process. You could say something along the lines, you could tailor this in any way it is that you want, but what you're doing essentially is letting them know that you expect referrals out of them. And you want to do this right away, because if you just rely on them to give you referrals, and you don't do anything else, you just expect them to bring a referral, maybe you put on your business card, oh, the referral friends and family is the greatest compliment I could receive. That's a good start. But if you really want to generate referrals, you want to plant that seed ahead of time. So with that particular client, you could tell them, hey, I'm really excited to work with you. I'm going to wow you, and I'm going to give you the best service that I can. And that way I know you're going to refer me to your friends and family. So you're telling them right off the bat. You're not asking them, will you? You're telling them, you're going to want to refer me. I'm going to give you guys such a great experience, you're going to want to tell the world about me. That's my goal here. You say that, and they're like, wow, this person knows what they're doing. This person is a true professional, and that's the type of image, that's the perception it is that you want to have. Now, so that's one way to get clients, and that works buyers or sellers, telling them, I want to provide you an exceptional experience, so you're going to want to tell the world about me. All your friends and family, you're going to want to tell them, hey, when you want to buy a house, John Christmas is your guy. Telling them that up front is really setting the tone and setting the expectation that there's no one else that they'd want to work with aside from you. It'd be stupid. It would be the worst mistake ever if they were to use anybody except for you. And this applies across the board. Any business it is that you're in, you want to have that mentality that it would be a mistake to use my competition. And you don't have to specifically say that, but that's the tone it is that you want. And saying that I want to provide you the best experience you've ever had, so you'll want to tell every single one of your friends and family about me and send me referrals. You tell them that up front. You set the tone, you set the expectation early, and then when you bring up referrals down the road, it's not difficult because you already mentioned this before. And you could ask them periodically, is there anything I could do better? Am I wowing you? And ensure that there's nothing more that they expect out of you. This will help you from losing your clients to other agents when there's something that they want, but they don't want to verbalize that and outspeak that, so they just go find another agent to represent them. And that happens more often than you probably think. That happens all the time. And a lot of times it's just because of that lack of communication. So setting that tone for an open communication going forward will absolutely help you out. So that's for obtaining referrals from this. And that works, again, across the board. But now what we could do with the sellers is, again, on Zillow, on Realtor.com, on Truly, and all these other websites, you're going to be shown as the listing agent. It's going to be your phone number right there above anybody else that's advertising on this stuff. And then on top of that, any advertising you're doing over and above that, because that's just putting in the MLS where it gets syndicated and pushed out to these different platforms. That happens automatically. Anybody that lists a property and puts it in the MLS, unless they've opted out of this syndication, it happens automatically. And then what you do above and beyond to market this inventory that you now have. And this goes a lot further than marketing your services. Because if you're marketing your services as a professional, that's not something people are going to get excited about. Yes, you do want to mention that, but that's secondary to the product it is that you're marketing. Because marketing the product, marketing the real estate, that's going to get them excited. If they get a full color postcard in the mail that you sent out just listed, and you've got this beautiful professionally done picture on nice glossy cardstock that shows this beautiful property that's like a dream home for the market it is that you're sending it to, people are going to get excited about that. You might get calls about that particular property. Even if they're not interested in buying it, they might be interested in what the sale price is for that property. And why would they be interested in that? Because they might be thinking about selling their home. They want to know what the market is like. You got to think of what's going through these people's minds when you're going through all this stuff there. But again, the product is what's going to get them excited, not your services. You could be the best realtor in the world, and I would challenge you to find people that are going to get excited. Oh, I can't wait to use a realtor. I'm going to get a new house in the process, but I'm more excited about using the realtor. That doesn't happen. You could be the best realtor in the world. No one is even close to you, bar none. And they're not going to get excited about you. They're excited about the property is that they're purchasing. That's across the board. Whether they're buying for themselves, they're buying for a vacation home, they're buying for an investment property, they're buying for they're opening they want to build an office building, all this other stuff. They're excited about the product, not your service. That's the big tone it is to keep in mind there. That's, like I said, why I would recommend the sellers. So I know that's a lot that we've been talking about here, all about kind of stemmed off of Logan's questions here. What's better, buyers or sellers? But that's kind of really the big part of this episode. I'm sure a lot of you guys are tuning in. What should I go after? What should I focus on? But it's not just sellers. We'll talk about how you could use this on the reverse side now when you're getting buyers, because ultimately your sellers are going to get you buyer leads. Now, how can we leverage those buyer leads to get us even more leads? We're going to talk about that after this commercial break. Stick with us. I'm John Corismo. You're watching State of Real Estate. Have you been thinking about starting a career in real estate? Enjoy an entrepreneurial lifestyle that allows for schedule flexibility with unlimited income potential. In real estate, the sky is the limit, and what you put in is what you get out. Learn more about a career in real estate at tampaschool.com. Did you know that statewide, only about 50% of test takers pass their state exam on the first try? At the Tampa School of Real Estate, we've broken down passing the class and state exams into 4 simple steps: learning the information, reinforcing the information, testing your knowledge, and being confident and prepared. View the details of the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review.
Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Don't let this be our final song. Don't let this be our final song. So hear me out before you say the night is over. I want you to know that we gotta carry on. So don't let
Hey, if you're liking the show today, which I'm sure you are, make sure you hit like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Our goal is to help you better understand the real estate industry, and I hope we're accomplishing that. Thanks for tuning in today, and remember to leave your comments in the comment section below.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come into you, into your homes, your phones, your tablets, whatever it is that you're watching us, whether it's the small screen or the big screen, to help you mastermind and take your real estate business to the next level. Maybe you're even watching this from an entrepreneurial standpoint. Maybe you're not even in real estate, and a lot of these concepts, you'll have to stretch it a little bit and apply it in your business, but they're applicable across the board. Because really, when you're operating a real estate business, you are operating a business, and that's even just being an associate of a broker. You're a business within a business. So it's really exciting because there's a lot of potential out there, but there's so much potential that most agents don't even know what potential to grab at. So that's what we're here to do, to help kind of focus you guys in, push you in the right direction, help you jumpstart your real estate career. If you're looking for some more ways to do that, make sure you check out tampaschool.com or give us a call, 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way it is that they can. And we've also got a recommended strategy to help you pass your exam on the first try at passfirsttry.com. If you get bored with the words that are coming out of my mouth, you'd always take a look down here at those banners and check out one of those sites, or give us a call. So we're talking about today, buyers or sellers. Who is it that you want to focus on? And my immediate answer for this, if you're not sure, is okay, go after the sellers, because with the sellers, you now have inventory to carry. And when you're able to carry inventory, all of a sudden you're more attractive to the marketplace. Buyers and sellers, regardless of who it is, are going to come looking at you because they see, oh, you have inventory. Maybe I don't want to buy this inventory, maybe I want to sell my inventory, but I want to see what other inventory is out there. So the inventory, again, is what gets people excited. Your service isn't going to get people excited. That goes without saying. The service, and you think about the best businesses out there, it's usually a product that they're offering and the service is just attached to it without saying. So that's working with the sellers. Now let's talk about some of the cons maybe with this, and maybe why you're maybe tracking down buyers as well. So this information, this isn't brand new information here about sellers generally being better because you're carrying inventory. There's a lot of agents out there that know that. So it is a more competitive market space in obtaining the listings. So that's one thing you have going against you. That does depend on the market it is that you're in, but typically trying to track down sellers is a more competitive space rather than working with buyers. So that's one part of this. The other part of this, and this comes down to the time, and this is actually an advantage on the sales side. So we've got a National Association of Realtors statistic that says on average it takes about 8 hours of time to work with a seller. So 8 hours of time it takes to basically close a seller. To get a seller from listing with you all the way to getting the property sold. That's not 8 hours and boom, it's done. It elapses. It's about 8 hours on average of time it is that you're putting in to get that property closed. And again, that's the average. So sometimes it'll be quicker than that. Sometimes it's going to require more work on your part. Now, working with a buyer, on the other hand, the average for that is 24 hours. So what that tells you is you could close three sellers in the time it would take for you to close that one buyer. And that alone, people might say, okay, yeah, let's focus on the sellers. You know, there's the inventory portion of it, and so on and so forth. But all of a sudden, that becomes a lot more difficult when there's a competitive industry and you can't get any listings. And especially if there's buyers out there going unserved, because there's a lot of agents that don't want to work with the buyers because maybe they take the additional time. That's an opportunity it is for you. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Now, even though there's less involvement on your part, that 8 hours versus the 24 hours, so it's less work that you're having to do as opposed with working with a buyer. You're out there showing them homes and showing them a couple of homes until they find the one they want, and then there for the inspection and all this other stuff you're having to do. And that's what's racking up these additional hours of the time on your part with this here. With the seller, this is typically a longer process from listing all the way to the actual closing. Yes, it's less involvement on your part, so you're able to carry a couple of these listings at the same time. You could carry 3 listings, and those 3 listings are on average going to take the same amount of time as it would to work with a single buyer. But now you're looking at a longer period of time. And especially if you're a new agent, or it doesn't matter if you're a new agent or not, if you need money now, or as soon as possible, because it's kind of hard to just go out there right now and get paid in real estate, you're looking at a much longer tail for the selling side, especially when we're in a buyer's market. So the buyer's market, this is going to be when we have more sellers than we have buyers. Meaning with the buyer's market, there's lots of inventory available, so it's advantageous to the buyers because the buyers could basically go there and try out all these properties and wheel and deal with these different properties and ultimately get a great property at the great price because the sellers are competing with each other. And when it's hard to sell properties, when we have the buyer's market like this, that's typically where the values are lower because we have the sellers competing with each other, pushing these values down. And that's where it will take a little bit longer. It might be, again, that same amount of hours on your part that you're putting into this transaction, but instead of maybe talking about, maybe working with a buyer and maybe on average about 3 months getting the deal done, we might be looking at about on average about 6 months for the seller to get the deal done. And the reason why is that buyer, especially if they're a qualified buyer that's ready to purchase now, they just need to find the right home, they could probably find the right home fairly quickly, and now it's just a matter of going through the closing process, which could be as quickly as maybe about 30 days. Could take a little bit longer depending on the type of financing, but if you've got maybe 2 or 3 weeks to find the perfect property, then another month to close the deal, we're talking about under 2 months you could have a buyer in and out. Yes, it is more hours. It's more time on your part, more involvement that you're going to have in the transaction. But on the selling side, it's less involved, but it is a longer process. And again, especially if we're in the buyer's market. Now, right now, we have a very tight seller's market. The inventory right now, there's not as much out there, and it's selling like that. And part of that is due to the demand that we have from so many buyers that not only want to relocate within the Tampa Bay area, but that are influxing to the Tampa Bay area, that are moving to the Tampa Bay area. That's causing a strain on our inventory where the properties are selling at a faster rate, which that especially gives the advantage in a seller's market. So in a seller's market, it's even more reason to go after the sellers to try to get sellers to get listings, not only for those other reasons we were talking about at the beginning of the show here, but now that the properties are selling quicker, that helps take the time out of the equation. Because there's a lot of properties now, and it's not because they're underpriced. There's a lot of properties right now that are getting under contract within a week. I've had properties under contract within a week, and again, it's not due to the price. It's due to the demand that's created. Yes, you maybe could charge a higher amount, but ultimately you might get above that point where the property never sells, because when you first list a property, that's where you have the most eyes. That's where you have the most attention on the property, is as soon as it's listed, because it pops up as a new listing. You might be doing some marketing because it's a new listing. People out there get excited. Oh, it's a new listing. It might be a good deal, because typically the properties that stay listed for longer, they're either overpriced, there's something wrong with them, and if there's something wrong with them, again, that means it's overpriced, because even though there's something wrong with the property, you could still probably sell the property. It just has to be at the right price. So it comes down to the property typically being overpriced. So if you overprice it from the beginning, you're losing out on that initial attention, that initial grab it is you're going to have. Because when it's first listed, people are like, oh, it's a deal. It's first listed. Let's see if we like it. Okay, we like it. Yeah, we got to write an offer right now. Whereas if it's been on the market for 30 days, people are looking at it, okay, yeah, we like this property, but what's wrong with it? Why hasn't it sold yet? Especially when you're looking at this in a seller's market like we have right now, where the inventory is tight. Why is this property not sold? What's wrong with it? And then you're finding out the details of what's wrong with it, and then you're trying to quantify that to how much you should offer, what the price should be. Or you start seeing price reductions on property. You say, okay, crap, we priced this too high from the beginning. We priced it too high, so let's just drop the price. That'll get it sold, right? Well, now you're probably going to end up dropping it lower than what you maybe could have sold it for initially, because you've got that urgency around it being a new listing, and it's not going to last, especially when it's in the seller's market. And this is all stuff to keep in mind and pay attention to. But the whole point of this here is when you have the seller's market, the properties are selling quicker. So now it's all of a sudden up on that same level as the buyer of being able to, with the elapsed time, the total time that it's taking, if we can get it under contract within a week, because then the closing process is still looking about the same. It's about the same period of time. So it's that time period of working with the client to actually getting towards a contract. That's the time. The longer that time is of getting from working with a client to getting into a contract on a property, the longer that time is, the more time overall it's going to take you working with the seller. Versus when you're working with a buyer, that time it's not always based on the market. The seller wanting to sell the property, the market has a huge impact on that. But when you're working with a buyer, the buyer really is the one kind of steering that time period, either making that time period longer or shorter. And it just has to do really with their indecisiveness or their need for housing. Because if they want to look at 100 different homes, that's going to take a lot of time for them to look at. Whereas if you could do a great job finding properties that is going to most match up with what it is that they've needed, you've qualified them well, you figure out exactly what it is that they're looking for, how many bedrooms, how many baths, is the basics. You want to have like the look and feel of the property. And this is the stuff that's hard to put into the MLS searches, and that requires a lot of kind of clicking through properties to see, okay, this is what they like. Let's see what we have that's close to that, so you get a couple different options that's their ideal, and you've got this narrowed down, so you can maybe have 3, 4, and people look at these shows like the House Hunters, the Property Brothers, and all this other stuff where they show like 3 properties. What is it? I think it's the House Hunters one, where they have 3 properties, and it's always 3 properties, and they've got the ultimatum of these 3 properties. Which one is it? Or you're not buying a house. And really, that's the ideal, and sometimes it can be that easy. If you have a highly motivated and properly qualified buyer, and when I say qualified, I don't mean financing-wise. Yes, that's one part of it. You want to make sure they can afford the properties it is that you're showing them, but that's almost like a pre-qualification. The actual qualification on your part in the real estate broker's side of this is understanding exactly the type of properties that you want. Because when agents start getting frustrated of having to show a buyer 17 different homes and they still aren't ready for any of these homes, that frustration stems from not finding them the right home. And how do you find them the right home? You know what they're looking for better than they know what they're looking for. And that's where your experience as a professional comes into play, because if you're really able to narrow down specifically the exact type of properties that you want, and you could find a couple different options of that property out there, that's where you'd be like, okay, well, let's look at these 3 homes here. Which ones is it that you like? This is what's available right now. Do you want to move now? Because we could wait 6 months to see if more properties show up. But if you want to buy right now, these are the ones that most meet your goals. And that's how you could have that fantasy, that ideal of having 3, 4, maybe 5 properties and not have to go crazy showing people 20, 25 properties before they find the properties that they like. A lot of times the agents blame the clients. You're blaming the clients for, being indecisive and not wanting to find a home. But it's not the client's fault. It's your fault for not properly qualifying them to find them the exact right properties they want. And you can't take their word for what it is that they want. They might say, I want this bedroom, this many baths. I don't really care where the property is located. That's what you got to watch out for the most. When they say, I don't care about this. Why are they mentioning it if they don't care about it? That's maybe not their most important thing, but you want to find out the details of, okay, how much do you not care about this? What specific part of the location do you not care about? Do you literally not care about the location whatsoever, so you don't care if this is a high crime rate neighborhood or a low crime rate neighborhood or a great school district or a bad school district or any of these different aspects that they say they don't care about the location, they don't care where it is, but they do still care about the location. So that's where you really got to play detective, play counselor, play psychologist, where you're literally trying to draw that information out of them and getting out their innermost wants and needs. We live in a society where people's what it is that they really want and what their deep down desires are, they're afraid to actually verbalize those things, to tell you. But if they have a dream of a $10 million house, and they want this grand house, but yet they don't have that budget, and they don't tell you that's what it is that they really want, that's where almost you might end up wasting your time, because they're probably not going to commit to a decision because they're not seeing the property. And if they could qualify for those higher dollar amounts, then that's the type of properties it is that you need to look at. And you can see how this is a difficult conversation to have, and you have to be very tactful and skillful in making sure you're asking the right questions, pulling out the right information, and sometimes this comes down to having them look at some properties, not even looking at them in person. The benefits and advantages we have now of everything being so digital, where we could see, especially when it's a well put together listing and it's not just like a single property photo or like 2 or 3 property photos and they're all crooked and dark and look gross and everything like that. That's kind of hard. That's where you sometimes actually have to go out and see the property in person. But a lot of times you'll be able to identify the wants, needs, and desires of somebody by looking at the properties it is that they bring to you. When they say, hey, look, I see this house here, I love this house, that's where you could kind of, okay, start breaking this down. What is it that they love about this house? And sometimes you have to make some assumptions about this stuff here. Sometimes they might say that they want the 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and that's what they want, and that's the end of the story. But is that really the end of the story? What other factors and details is it that they're looking for? So going back to focusing on buyers versus sellers, what we're talking about here is when you're dealing with a buyer, you're dealing with a lot more unpredictableness. There's a lot more that's unpredictable. And sellers can be unpredictable as well. It's your job as the professional to predict the unpredictable. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more about focusing on buyers and sellers. I'm John Carissimo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
Have you been thinking about starting a career in real estate? Enjoy an entrepreneurial lifestyle that allows for schedule flexibility with unlimited income potential. In real estate, the sky is the limit, and what you put in is what you get out. Learn more about a career in real estate at tampaschool.com. Did you know that statewide, only about 50% of test takers pass their state exam on the first try? At the Tampa School of Real Estate, we've broken down passing the class and state exams into 4 simple steps: learning the information, reinforcing the information, testing your knowledge, and being confident and prepared. View the details of the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Don't let this be our final song. Don't let this be our final song. So hear me out before you say the night is over. I want you to know that we gotta carry on. So don't let
Hey, if you're liking the show today, which I'm sure you are, make sure you hit like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Our goal is to help you better understand the real estate industry, and I hope we're accomplishing that. Thanks for tuning in today, and remember to leave your comments in the comment section below.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back. Every Friday, we're live at 12 noon Eastern Time to mastermind to grow your real estate business. That's what we do every week, every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time on State of Real Estate. If you're not yet subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. On Facebook, like the page, or better yet, go to tampaschool.com/success. That's tampaschool.com/success. 2 C's, 2 S's, and here you'll find all the archived episodes. You can drop in your email and you're automatically going to get email notifications anytime it is that we go live, which it's already pretty predictable, but I know you guys got busy schedules and you got to find time for this here. But you're going to want to take out the notepads. You're going to want to get your pens, get your papers, get ready, because we're dropping the knowledge that will help you elevate your real estate business. What we're talking about today is who to track down, buyers or sellers. And we've been talking about a lot of the pros and cons of both of these here, and talking about some of the mentalities that you're going into with each side to help avoid some of these problems that you'll end up with down the road that's going to complicate this process and make it ultimately bad for you. But let's talk about the buyers now and talk about how we could utilize the buyers to maybe get us some seller leads. And this one is a little bit harder to go across like this. With listings representing the sellers, it's very easy to cross over into picking up some buyers there because you'll probably have buyers calling you interested in that property. Now, they might not buy that property. Very unlikely they're probably going to buy that property, even if they're calling you about it, but they want a property, and a property that's similar to the one that you have listed for sale. So when you have somebody calling you, they're picking up the phone, and in this day and age, in the information age it is that we live in, information is already available. They don't need to come to you for basic information. They're already familiar with what that house looks like. They look at the pictures. They already have seen how many bedrooms, how many baths it has. So don't bore them with that information that they already have. We're in the information age. There's computers now. People, I don't care if they're 90 years old. They can go on the computer and very easily find the details of that property. They don't need you to tell them the easily findable details of that property. They need you to really kind of counsel them and hold their hand through this process. And when they're picking up the phone, they're very interested. They might not be ready to buy today, but they're very interested. So you can get some really, really hot buyer leads by having listing inventory. So very easy to cross over onto that other side, from the seller to the buyer side. But now, how are we able to do this when we're representing a buyer? How are we able to cross over into the seller side of this? And this is where it gets more difficult. Now, you still want to implement some sort of farming strategy, because that farming strategy, somehow you have your area it is that you're targeting into. If you assisted a buyer, and now this is where you've already closed one of these buyers, you could use that story to kind of help drum up some attention. Because yes, the marketing about your services, that's a secondary aspect. So marketing your services, that's something you want to do secondary to, number one, marketing the product. But now when you don't have any products it is to market, that makes that difficult. So with the buyer side, there are some ways you can go about this, but I would focus on if you're trying to cross over from the seller side into the buyer side. So as far as, again, the key thing I want to hit home with this here is, again, you're not turning away clients. And you could always ask for referrals. And you want to set that intention up front that my goal in this transaction, and this is once you've already gotten them to sign the paperwork, and you might even want to say this before that, but my goal is to provide you guys the most exceptional service you've had. Not even just in the real estate industry, but provide you the most exceptional service. So that way, when we're all said and done, and even before then, you're ready to tell your friends and family about how great I am and how they should use me as well. That's powerful. And you got to be careful with this here, because when you say something like that, these people are either going to go one of two ways. They're going to either say, wow, this person is very confident, or wow, this person is full of, insert whatever it is that you're full of there. And that's where you have to practice this. Whether you're practicing this just in the mirror, or maybe you're recording yourself. You've got a mirror right in your pocket now, right here. I see people all the time pull this out and use it as a mirror. I've done that before as well. So practice this, because in order to say things like that, it's very effective for gaining referrals. And because now you've already brought that up before. You've already talked about that. And when you talk about that, when you set that intention at the beginning of the transaction that you want to do such a great job that they'll tell their friends and family about you. Now, when you bring this up again, you could ask them, hey, am I doing a good job? Am I doing everything it is that you would expect out of an agent? And if they say, oh, well, you know what, I feel like you're now opening up the discussion to talk about what it is that you're doing bad, or what it is that they don't like about your service. Not only is this going to overall make you a better agent, it's going to make you a much more effective agent, it's also going to help keep them committed to you. Because you're not going to be perfect for every single client out there that you ever work with. There's going to be some that have either higher or lower expectations of what it is. And sometimes they might just say, hey, John, you're doing way too much. You don't need to be doing all this stuff, and it's good to get that feedback now, because if you shut down that communication, that open, honest feedback, that's where they're just going to turn you off. They're going to not answer your phone calls, not respond to your texts, not open your emails, not answer the door when you go knocking on their door. They're going to turn off all the lights and pretend like they're not there if you show up at their house. That's not what you want. You don't want them to hide from you. And the reason why they might do something like that is you don't have the communication about what it is that you're not living up to, what expectations it is that they have that you're not living up to. So by having that line at the beginning, setting that intention that you want to provide them an exceptional experience, so that, and you might be saying, John, that's so much work. Being exceptional isn't easy. It is when it's routine, when it's habit, when you're constantly being exceptional. It's actually pretty easy to do. But again, because if there's no return on investment for your side of this, there's absolutely tons of return on investment for this year. The big part of this is the referrals. Because if there wasn't return on investment, why would you do this? Why would you do anything more than average if there's no return on investment for it? But there's so much opportunity out there. The referrals alone you're able to get from your past clients. Because how many of you are going to trust an advertisement as much as you're going to trust your friend or family? So if your best friend or your brother or sister, mother, father, daughter, whatever it may be, that tells you something about a business, you're more likely to take their advice than take the advice of an advertisement. And that's what the advertisements are really always constantly doing. They're trying to advise you to use this service, to use this company, to use this brand, to use this product. But that's nowhere near as powerful as somebody that you already have established trust with saying, yeah, this is the product, this is the service for you. I used this person as my realtor. There's no one out there better than that. That's so powerful, and it's free. Not necessarily free, because you still have to do something. It's not going to cost you any money to do this, but it will cost you that difficult conversation. But it's a lot less difficult to have that conversation of asking for referrals when you set this up front, saying, hey, I want to provide you the most exceptional service you've ever received, not even just real estate specific. I want to be the best of the best, and I don't want anybody ever giving you a better service and a better experience than I did here. The reason why I do that is because I know you're going to want to tell your friends and family about me afterwards, and that helps keep my business moving forward. And you have something like that's so powerful that you establish at the beginning. When you talk about referrals now, it's no longer taboo to talk about referrals, to ask them for business. Because that's a difficult question that a lot of agents don't want to ask. So when you set that up, and a lot of times what happens is this just starts building up. It starts building up inside of you. And again, this is whether you're working with a buyer or a seller, but the more you're holding something back, the more that anxiety and stress starts to build up behind this of there's obviously a reason you haven't asked this question yet, and your mind now starts just coming up with all the alternative bad what if scenarios that'll happen if you even mention the word referrals, or you mention something that is, like, again, one of these things that's the difficult questions to ask. So that's really what the point I want to hit home on here is you want to ask these tough questions, and you want to ask these tough questions early. And you don't want to scare away your clients. So again, this has to be practiced. Practice it in the mirror. Practice it in a recording. Or better yet, practice it on a person. But don't practice it on your clients. Practice it on a colleague, on a family member, or some person that'll give you some objections or some honest feedback or anything like that to see how it is that they feel of this. So practice on a person, because then now it's two-way. Because remember, communication, it's a two-way street. You could say something perfectly into the camera, but if the person that you're communicating that with now live in person isn't receiving that communication, you're just wasting your breath there. So that's pretty much all I've got for you guys today on buyers v. sellers. Really, there's no bad clients out there. If you got a seller that wants to work with you, go work with the seller. If you've got a buyer that wants to work with you, go work with the buyer. But when you're being proactive and going out there trying to follow up with these people, take into account everything that we said. Overall, the sellers are typically going to give you a better return on investment when you're out there tracking them down. But again, that being said, that's not exclusive knowledge. That's as much as I'd like to take the claim for coming up with that discovery. It wasn't me that came up with that discovery. This isn't new information. There's a lot of agents out there that know that not only are sellers less work on your part, but it's like easier and it's a lot less work, because a lot of times if you price the property right and just put it in the MLS, that property ends up getting sold. Simple as that. Where's my check? And yeah, there's a little bit more to it than that, but a lot of times it can be just that easy. And again, there's other parts of the process and whatnot, but I mean, once you've got that down, really the hard part becomes in just obtaining the clients. And once you've got that client, boom, wait for the check to come in. But now you could use that opportunity, and that's the point I wanted to hit home today with this episode, is you could use that seller, leverage that seller, because you now have their product. And yes, every other agent out there has access to that product as well, but that's your listing. You just listed it. And what you're telling the public is when you're sending out a mailer or you're doing an ad online or whatever it may be of a just listed property, you're saying, hey, look, I'm such a professional that people actually use me. There's so many people out there with real estate licenses, and so many of those people with real estate licenses don't end up doing anything with a real estate license. They just have the real estate license. You know, maybe they're starting part-time, they never really get fully into it or whatever it may be. So there's a lot of agents out there that don't carry an inventory, that don't have any sales. And the public's aware of that. They know that they've met probably 20, 30 different realtors in their life, and probably half of them are just people it is that they know, friends and family members. So they know that there's a lot of people out there that are realtors. And you think of yourself of, okay, who do I want to use? If it's not somebody that I know that I could already trust, because that's usually people's default, even if that may not be the best option for them. If they're thinking of outside of their friends and family, who it is that they want to work with, they want to find somebody that actually knows what they're doing. And how do you find somebody that knows what they're doing? Somebody who's done it before. Because if they've done it before, they could do it again. So, and that's the power of having listings, because you can market this as coming soon, just listed, under contract, just sold, open house. You have so many opportunities to market that product. And remember, the product is what people are going to get excited about. Your services always come secondary in the marketing. And that's what I got for you on this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you guys have some information, some little tidbits. I know we talked about so much here, but just try to take some little tidbits. Even if it's just one small thing you're implementing in your business, it's going to help you. It's going to help take your business, push it in the right direction, and push it forward. So keep in there, keep getting your head down and grinding it out, because you're going to get to that point where you want to be at. And if you're at that point of where you want to be at, you're probably not where you want to be at, because I'm sure there's still further that you want to push yourself. That's why we do this episode every week. We don't have an end date to it. Just like you should never stop pushing yourself forward, you should also never stop learning. That's why we're here every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, for State of Real Estate. I'm John Chrismo. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Remember to call us, go on the website, do whatever it is that you want to do with that information down below. And I will see you next Friday at 12 noon.
Have you been thinking about starting a career in real estate? Enjoy an entrepreneurial lifestyle that allows for schedule flexibility with unlimited income potential. In real estate, the sky is the limit, and what you put in is what you get out. Learn more about a career in real estate at tampaschool.com. Did you know that statewide only about 50% of test takers pass their state exam on the first try? At the Tampa School of Real Estate, we've broken down passing class and state exams into 4 simple steps: learning the information, reinforcing the information, testing your knowledge, and being confident and prepared. View the details of the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Don't let this be our final song. Don't let this be our final song. So hear me out before you say the night is over. I want you to know that we gotta carry on. So don't let
Hey, if you're liking the show today, which I'm sure you are, make sure you hit like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Our goal is to help you better understand the real estate industry, and I hope we're accomplishing that. Thanks for tuning in today, and remember to leave your comments in the comment section below.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business.
You're watching State of Real Estate.